Can you see us?
Buenos
Good
días, buenas
evening,
noches.
everybody. Welcome to Ajusta tu Corona. Welcome to Conversations with Ajusta tu Corona. We just want to come in here and give you all a quick hello. I'm Lillian.
I'm Margarita.
And I'm Francia. Welcome, everyone.
Tonight we have a guest speaker, and we're going to bring her right on because I think she's absolutely amazing. She happens to be my life coach, and there's so much to learn from her. I'm not going to say much about her. I'm going to let her do all the talking. She's absolutely amazing. Her name is Maritza Figueroa. She is Thrive Health Life Coach, and I'm going to bring her on for you now. Welcome, Maritza.
Hola,
So happy
chicas.
to have you here.
I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. I'm like, oh my God.
Tonight's topic is turning pain into power, and it is the first episode of our self-love series. Maritza, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm very proud to say that I'm a grandmother of 10. And my second oldest turned 17 today. So I can't believe it anyway. But yeah, so I have an 18-year-old next week and then a 3-year-old, which is the youngest.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I stay pretty busy with them. Thrive Coaching is thriving, and I thank God and I thank you guys and everybody that has had a part in helping me grow my business. What else? I'm going to school. I'm taking 2 classes. They're kicking my butt, but you know what? We're here to help each other. I already sent out a shout out to Lillian's like, and plus that, then I'm finishing up my master's in my coaching. So I'm doing a lot of schooling. I'm trying to build my business. I'm trying to get a wedding together by September. So I'm doing a whole lot, but it's all good. It's all good. I never stack my cards. I just kind of put them on each side, on the side next to each other, because what I feel my visual is that when you stack things up, you feel weight on it. But when you laid everything out next to each other, you can then take one thing at a time and it's not overwhelming. It just feels very light. So that's what I'm trying to do with all the cards I have up in my hair, if that makes sense.
No, that's
So yeah,
good.
I'm just a busy lady, and I want to say thank you to you guys because you are extremely powerful women that have taken their lives, and you have answered the question that I'm going to ask tonight is, what do you want? And the 3 ladies that I see in front of me already know what they want, and that is such an empowering thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. So go ahead.
Well, my first question is like how you stay, like the topic, turning pain into power. So how does one begin that? When one comes from trauma or abuse, how does one begin that?
That is such a personal walk, because it's not one size fits all. And some of us can take it. I always say, let's talk about the scar and not the wound, because the scar means that you're healing. And when a person is going through that healing process, we need to look at what is going to be good, what is going to be great. We don't want to keep going back, because that's not healing. What heals is the present. We have to be in the present moment. How do I feel today? And take each day one step at a time. This cannot be a rush job.
No.
We cannot get upset with the person because they're not, if we have to talk about the same thing for 6 weeks, that's what we're going to do. Because we have to get from that feeling to the belief that I can do this. And the other thing that I'm going to mention tonight is that we can't do this alone. If you think you're going to be superwoman and do this alone, maybe the outside is going to cure, but the inside's not going to heal. And we always have to remember that we have to work within first, because that's what we need to clean up. We need to clear that clutter, all that shit that we just keep stuffing in. It's like you have to think of a room. Like when you want new furniture, you're not going to put it on top of the old furniture. You got to clear that old stuff out and put in the new stuff, new beginnings. So, and I love to give people visuals because I think that helps them.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm one that whenever I had a breakup, I would either be getting my hair done or getting a tattoo. So to me, that was my way of going on to the next step and getting rid of the old and on to the new.
Right. Yeah, but it's so important to really walk through our darkness. It's very painful. You have to, and a lot of people rather avoid that and then keep living what they're living.
It's a facade. They live
It
a
is.
facade with it. They're never going to reach happiness or fulfillment.
Right. They think it's for everybody else, but never for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So true.
But I like that. I like what you said about what people need to walk in their darkness. That is the absolute truth.
Right. Most of everything that I try to talk about and bring to the audience is my own experiences, because I've put all my 5 senses into that. I know what it feels like, and I know what the hurt is, and I know what bitterness is and anger, and because I carried all that for so long because I wasn't speaking my truth. I was so worried about, like you said, playing this facade, because what are people gonna say? And you're a deacon's wife and you're supposed to be acting a certain way, and bullshit. That's not who I was. You know, don't tell me I can have a Buddha freaking statue in my house. No.
Libre, Dios libre.
We're not even gonna get started on that.
That's my expression, and I have you have every right to express how you feel, and to express yourself. Self-expression does not need to be apology. You don't need an apology. There's no reason why I should apologize, because that is my desire. That's what I want. That's who I am. Keep it moving if that's not what it is, it really, and the more you do that, the easier it becomes. I was stuck in a rut for 23 years in a marriage that he was a wonderful person, wonderful man, but he just wasn't for me. He wasn't for me. So I made the decision to keep it moving. That's when my journey started. I started this beautiful journey from pain to power at 42, and I haven't stopped. And I love everything about me. I love my cellulite, my saggy boobs, I don't care what it is. I'm taking it and I'm owning it, because I'm beautiful no matter what.
Own it and take them boobs and dress them up in pearls and have a photo shoot.
That's right.
That's it.
I am.
That's
I
it.
am.
I've done it and I love it.
That's it. It is what it is. I mean, we have to, and we might, crack jokes and stuff, but again, just going back to that, how do we move from that pain to that power? Is like, it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's an easy walk. It's taken me 30 years, to realize who I am. So the walk is a slow pace. It's not a marathon.
You got to be the turtle in this story. You got to be the turtle, not the rabbit, in the story of healing. Yes.
That's right. That's right. And it just takes such courage. I can't think of another word. It takes so much courage, to move from A to B. It's a lot, and sometimes we get stuck on the what happened to us. But what we need to do is turn that into that power of who we are. Because I'm a true believer that things happen for us and not to us. And I think that's what changes your whole mindset about the situation that you're either in still or that you moved out of. What can I learn from this experience? You know, my sensors are going to be heightened, because now I know who to trust. I know what to look for. If I see these signs, I'm running away. So we have to learn, it's like, that's why I say meditation, quiet time, time for self is so important, because we already have all those answers within us. We are just so afraid to it's like we freeze. It's like that fight and fight and flight response. It's just like, uh what do I do? It's like, if I do this, this is what's going to happen, or this is what they're going to say, or I'm going to be judged. We need to put that to the side,
Yeah.
because that is keeping you stuck. And when we stay stuck, we don't grow. you know and we always think we're going to leave somebody behind, or we're taking away from somebody if we express ourselves. But if you don't take care of you, how are you going to take care of somebody else? you know we need
And
to
that,
nurture. We need to nurture.
and
And
that,
I grew up with that. It's like, you know I grew up barefoot and pregnant, or you're only good for one thing. That's what I was taught. My stepdad was very verbally, emotionally, mentally abusive. And that takes a long time for you to get out of your pores. Because
mhm.
there's going to be things that's going to trigger that. I'm still going back into that because my mom lives that. She's been living that for 50 years. you know and I mean, he's taken everything from her. She's dead inside. you know Severely depressed. She's always crying. She has dementia real bad, and that's all from the stress that abuse has given her. So, and when I first started taking care of her, I would walk in and I feel like that little girl again. Like I couldn't use my voice. It's like, you know what? Not no more. The other day I went and I did all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to get guardianship of my mom, and I'm pushing through. Sometimes you have to walk through that fear. You got to walk through the darkness.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
beautiful.
You
We
so
can
yeah,
totally relate.
mhm, it's tough. So I had like 4 pages of stuff I was gonna share, and I'm just like,
Go right ahead.
so
No, but this is real,
yeah,
and and
exactly.
and I think when it's anything for self-preservation and growth, we have to be
Mm-hmm.
willing to walk through the fire, and we're
We
gonna
have,
get burned,
yeah,
but we're gonna
yeah.
heal.
Oh my gosh, yes, you are. You definitely are gonna heal. And it's just like, we have to come out of that fear of being a victim. Because those are my guideposts throughout my teenage and young adult life. And the choices that I made, those were a mirror image of my decisions, because I always played small. you know I never said no to anyone. I never self-cared. I never used my voice. And that fear, that little girl that still sits there, she's still there, and I thank her every day for being there. But now, instead of reacting, I respond to her. Because I make sure that I self-care. And again, I know what I want. you know I always ask people, it's like, you know what we think of expands, if that makes any sense. If you're thinking that if you want to be happy, then you find moments of happiness. And the more you do that, the more they're going to gravitate to you. So what you think of, is, are you thinking positive, or are you thinking negative? Do you believe in yourself enough to make whatever changes you want? And then we have those voices in our heads, because it's like we have three brains. One that's in charge of our logic, how we think, and one that's in charge of how we feel, our emotions, etc. And then we have the one that if we want to change something, he is threatened because it's something different. Every time we want to, and that's, and a good example of that is a habit. You know, it's just like when we're trying to exercise, we all struggle with that. It's just like, no, go sit on the couch because that's what we always do. And that triggers that brain stem. It's just like the human brain right away is like, no, we don't like doing that. Let's go back to the old ways. And that's how we stay stuck, a lot of times. So, but I wanted to share something that I do with some of my clients, call to action. And it's called the four-step system, and it's 4 ways how to get what you want. And the first step is keeping in mind that transformation begins with you, and that nothing changes until you change. And always remember that you can't change anyone else. You could only change yourself. And step 2 is always answer yourself honestly. What do you want? Don't be afraid of that question. What do you want? And I have an exercise every time you ask someone that it's like their eyes open up and they like fears, like, I'm not allowed to want. It's like, I want you to take your journal or notebook, and in the very back of it, write run and hide. So every time you ask yourself that question and you feel like you want to run and hide, you go to that page and you write down why. Because we got to have a visual. We got to understand why those thoughts are forming. Why do we feel that way? You know? Step 3 is letting go of the mindset of either or. We need to start thinking about both and more. We could have it all.
Mm-hmm.
We can have it all. And ask for what you want by saying, you know what I would love? Doesn't that sound so nice? What would I love?
Can you say that again? Can you say that step again? Because that
The
needs to be
last the
repeated.
last one
Mhm.
is it ask for what you want by saying, you know what I would love?
Okay, now go the one before that.
Let go of the mindset of either or, because that gives you like it closes you out,
Mm-hmm.
because that means you have to make a decision of what you want. But when you start thinking of both and more, you can
Love
have
it.
it all.
I love that.
You can have it all. Why not? This is called the appreciation request acknowledgement sandwich. That's what that's called. And this comes from walking through our darkness, like we talked earlier. For transformation to occur, we need to know what we want, and not be afraid to go after it, because that's what's gonna motivate you to make that deeper change, to stay there, to make that lasting change. Because it's not about just doing it once. You just got to keep working it and working it and working it. And no matter what, women are not afraid to speak their truth. And I say that for myself, because I didn't have a voice for the longest time. I was so afraid to speak up and really say what I really wanted. I would always go with the crowd. Oh, whatever you want to do. Oh, whatever you want. Not no more. Not this girl right here. There's so much power in standing your ground and knowing what you want. So much power in that. So, and
I never shut up.
Mark Mark Twain said the two
I
most
was always
important days
told I
of
was
your
too bossy.
but that's a good trait to have, Lillian. So, but I have a quote from Mark Twain which I love, and it says the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Isn't that awesome? It's like finding your purpose. I love that. Love it, love it. So let me ask you, let's do like an impromptu coaching thing here. What would you like to be experiencing instead?
What would I like
Whoever.
to be experiencing?
Yes.
like visually tell you what I would like to be experiencing?
Oh, yes, please. I
I
love
would
that.
like to be lying across a marble counter in my white kitchen in my own home.
Tell me what that feels like. Give me
The
all those.
the marble is nice and cool and smooth, and it just feels so lovely
And why is that important to you?
because I feel that that is one of my big goals that I have not reached yet. So when I get there, I am going to celebrate it by lying across the marble counter and feeling the coolness of it as I breathe in the smell of my new home.
And what is that going to do for you?
It's going to give me happiness
And why is it going to give you happiness?
because I've accomplished one of my dreams.
That's what I wanted to hear. That is what I wanted to hear. There's always a why behind our why. We can leave it at the surface, but then you keep digging and digging and digging until you get to your why. And that is your why. That is one of your biggest accomplishments in life. And that just opens the door to so many more other things. We can't
Mhm.
just say, this is what I want. Okay, I got it. I'm done. No, you
No.
keep building higher, keep making that building higher and higher and higher, and always working through that imperfection. When we first start, something is not going to be right, you know, but the more we do it and the more we dig into it, we become experts at it, you know. And I always look at it as, we're all connected, so whatever you realize in your life, that's going to push me to realize something in my life, because we give each other that accountability, and that's what we're supposed to do. And for me, this is what your show is all about. you know it's just giving everyone that next step. Look at it as stairs. you know what, maybe today this will inspire someone to take that other step. Maybe when you get into your new home, that's going to inspire somebody to take another step. Margarita's show will give somebody another step. We got to keep building those steps until we, to that last day, because there's no quitting until we take our last breath.
Absolutely.
I'm in it to win it, and I'm going to drive it till the wheels fall off. And I believe that's what what you guys are doing also. Kudos to you for inspiring so many other women. You know, and the importance of embracing our shadow self is also to embrace our mental and emotional healing. Because if we don't work on that first, you know, we're gonna stay like in that stuck mode. If we don't take the time to look at what we want for ourselves, not for our kids, not for my husband, not for for me. You have to take time to look at what you want for you, you know, because if not, what's going to happen is that focus is going to just remain external, and that's not going to help you move forward. If that makes any sense to you, you know, we have to keep embracing that, and, we also have to learn to forgive. I know a lot of people have really hard time with that, but, you have to ask yourself, what would you like to forgive and let go of? Because when you forgive, there's such a cleansing, and we need to bring those emotions to the surface, because then you're going to be carrying that other person's stuff with you. You don't want their baggage, so you have to keep asking yourself that question until it's well formed in your mind, and then put it in your heart, because your heart is never going to steer you wrong. And finding the time and energy for ourselves is vital. It's vital for our survival. For many, they think it's a selfish pursuit, but finding time for yourself, man, that it's a gift. That is like the one of the best gifts that you can give yourself. And the words should and have to, you need to delete that from your vocabulary, because that brings you self-doubt. No matter what, women know what they want. They know what they want their future to look like, and they have within themselves the key to having what they want. So we need to know how we talk to ourselves, and we have the option of living and staying in a present state, that we want, or we can shift our beliefs to our desired state. you know Again, what do you want? We constantly need to keep asking ourselves that. Those of us that know emotional, mental, or physical hurt, we all have our own experiences, and we all see life differently, and we have mentioned that earlier. And for many of us, forgiveness sounds like a hard pill to swallow, but we have to learn to forgive. you know who do you need to forgive to let go and fully reclaim your power? Because that drains you. Tonight we're talking about, getting your power back. That is one of the ways that you can reclaim your power. And we never forget, because we don't like to bring that same kind of pain. I should say we should never forget what we went through, because we don't want to bring that pain to another person, because we already know what it feels like. And we don't want to forget what we went through, because we learned from that, but we want to grow from it too. That's key. When I coach clients, for me, it's essential to challenge the client. You could see their face like, what do you mean? Because this gives them another perspective, and another way of seeing things. And when something moves inside us, when it gives us that uncomfortable feeling, that's where the challenge is. And we can feel it in our body. We can have an ache, we can have a pain, especially in our gut. We carry a lot of stuff in our gut, and a lot of us carry a lot of that pain in our weight. We don't want to let it go, because we feel it protects us. There's still hurt and emotional pain, but again, we have to walk through it. We can't let that hurt hold us back. Just ask yourself, where do I feel that in my body? We have to allow ourselves the space and grace to grow, so that we can bloom from the inside, because that's how we begin to heal and we begin to grow. When we start doing that, we have clarity, and we begin to find purpose. And another question that I ask is, what new perspective can you have on yourself or your life that gives you the freedom to grow? Or what new attitude can you adopt that supports your best life? Let me hear from you guys. Who wants to chime in? Tell me about what new attitude you can adopt that supports your best life. What have you done in the past?
You have to grow by forgiving. That is one of the most things we women, it's like it's sewn into the tapestries of our souls. And we feel that it is like an arm.
Right.
And I think that by forgiving, that's just showing your metamorphosis into wanting to be better, to feel better, to behave better, and to reach your goals. You can't reach your goals, and you can have all these plans. You're not going to reach your goals if you're still like pulling that ball and chain with you.
Right.
And that ball and chain, it's putrid.
Mm-hmm.
And all it holds is yuck.
Yeah.
And then we carry it, and we wonder why we feel sick, or triggers certain smells, certain, and it's because we haven't let that go. We never forget what happened. We should never forget, because that was a learning process. And it actually, whatever happened, no matter how atrocious it could have been, it's really just a launch forward to where you're supposed to be in your purpose life.
Like
that's what Mark Twain, that's what I got out of that quote, which is beautiful. Yeah. And when you learn your why, So it's between birth and that why, no matter what age you're at, because every age, unless you're dead, that's the only thing, no matter what age you are. I think that why is gonna, that epiphany is gonna like slap you in the face with some of us when we decide to say no mas.
Right. It's up to us.
Yes.
Right. We need to say, okay, stop. That's it. I'm done. And I've done that several times in my life, and it's just such a rebirth when you do that, and again, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, because the more you do it, the more you're learning about who you are and where you want to be and how you want to be treated, you know? Like you said, it's like a metamorphosis. It's like you're becoming that butterfly, but there's steps to it, you know? Exactly.
And there's steps you're gonna wanna have to go, even if you're blindfolded. You're gonna have to feel. That's where all your senses come in. The hearing, the seeing, the smelling, the tasting, the walking in your darkness. Yeah. Who needs a light if you know with determination that you need to get to the other side? Estoy tocando, walking on your knees, getting dirty, and leaving. My dad always said, nunca te engañes. Y cuidado con quien te rodea, porque en los momentos más difíciles hasta tu sombra te abandona. So it's like you must go and you must just do what you gotta do, get those scrapes, get those cuts, but keep going. And that's where people give up because it's too hard.
Yes. Right, yeah. Those scars.
I want to chip in a little bit as far for what I personally do to heal and to have healed. I have always believed, and I use this beautiful example of the Japanese art of kintsugi, where a broken piece, they put it back together with gold dust. Gold glue dust, and then at the end, it's just this beautiful masterpiece at the end. So I've used that from the beginning. In one of our events, and I always use that example. And going back to healing, turning your pain into power. That's automatically where I go. I go to where my wounds are, where my cuts, where it hurts, what made it hurt, what caused it, and what can I do? Who was I, who I am at that time to not let it happen again and to not hurt someone in that way.
Right.
And then start covering it with that gold glue, with that gold dust. And that's also getting to know you, going deep down inside to say, what from me, what beauty, what quality, what can I do for me, for myself, to cover that scar, to not cover it to hide it, but to emphasize that scar, for it to mean something beautiful now.
Right, to mend it,
to turn your story around, like you said, to not talk about what happened, but how I healed it. What did I do? How did I become more beautiful?
Right, because that's the strength for the other person to hear. You don't want to bring them down. You're trying to build them up. Yes. And the way you build them up is by telling them how you've rebuilt yourself, how you have redesigned. I love that word, redesign your life, because we can do that. We can do that. We have every right and we have everything within us to do that. If you don't know how, find someone that has done it, and this is why we do these talks and, these lives, and we hope to just put it out there. So hopefully somebody's inspired by taking that step.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank
Yes,
you for sharing that. That was great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Surrounding yourself with powerful women, with women that want to support you and
Mm-hmm.
see that you're doing good. Um, it's definitely very important. It's
Yes.
very helpful.
Yes. Yeah. And surrounding yourself. And if if you're with people that want to stay down and you know where you want to go, you know what? It's time to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my train of friends have become this big, because you want to be with people that gonna celebrate you, are gonna celebrate your wins, not
Okay.
be judgmental, not like you, or who do you think you are. You don't want to be around that.
You mentioned you cannot change the people around you. Uh,
Right. You could
but
only change yourself.
correct. But then there's also this saying that goes, you cannot change the people around. No, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
Mm.
So meaning you can move yourself,
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
go to another room where
Mm-hmm.
there's better people, where
Right.
there's people that are going to add to your life and you're going to
Exactly.
learn from. So
Yes.
you can't change someone, but you can change scenery. You can move
Oh,
yourself. You
for
have that
sure.
control to
Mm-hmm.
change the people that's around you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. That's right. And and we always have to look at that because we have to keep growing, you know. Um
Beautiful. Yes.
so yeah, again again it's like blooming from the inside. We have to continually do that, and bring clarity to our lives. And I love to listen to people's stories because you know um we disassociate ourselves because we don't want to feel. We want to have control of our emotional experience. But sometimes it's like we have to ask ourselves, what is the risk in letting go of your story? Because the other question is, who would you be without your story? They're so used to their story that they don't know how to live without it, and that's because they're not clear on what do I want. Because when we know what we want, we're going to be okay without that story anymore. That happened, that's the past. I'm creating a new story now, more meaningful thing, something that's more meaningful to me in the content of my life today.
You mentioned you talk to your young self.
Oh yeah, all the time. But basically that what that is our ego, you know because our ego gets in the way every time we want to make a change in our life. It just wants to hold us there. you know that's why I always say, always think with your heart, live out of your heart, because your mind will always send you in the wrong direction. But it's all ego, fear. The ego lives in fear all the time. Why do you ask?
Yeah, I was watching this speaker, and she mentioned I'm still parenting myself because my parents
Mm.
didn't do so. So I talked to my little girl, me
Mm-hmm.
as a little girl, and I parent myself.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when
Wow.
you mentioned it, it's kind of that
Yeah, it's basically the same
right.
thing.
Yes, putting it together.
Yeah. And again, it's about removing all those obstacles that are holding us back. And that may be an obstacle that's holding us back, because we a lot of times forget to remove what's holding us back. And then we have that inside of us already, that clutter's already in there. And then we're trying to bring new things into our life, you know, but we
You
only
make a
gonna
bigger
keep
mess.
living. Yes, because we're just living in the surface. you know. We have to give ourselves permission, to move on to better and to self-care, you know. We have to do that. We have to begin to break down those fears of, of feeling not deserving.
Yeah, you must. My 18-year-old granddaughter, she was here. You probably saw her. I have her writing letters to her future self, so that she doesn't have to be where we are today, backtracking to our little girl.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and
Right.
like my book that I published, my recent one, it is dedicated to the little girl who never cried.
Oh.
So she's acknowledged in several of the writings because and I talk to her all the time. So I think it's a beautiful thing, Francia. What that girl said, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because just like Maritza said earlier, we all must approach how we're going to handle our lives. We approach it differently, but with the same mindset of growing,
Right.
of birthing the woman that we were born to be.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. To grow again, we have to let go of the thing that we're attached to. But in order to do that again, we have to quiet ourselves. We have to find, even if it's just 5 minutes in the bathroom, to just okay, USA, I need 5 minutes, and people gonna start learning to respect your boundaries. That's all part of self-care. We have to let go of the things that we're attached to. We have to change and let go of the ifs and the buts, because the ifs and the buts are going to keep you where you are. We have to learn and give ourselves the permission to let go of the shame, of the blame, of the doubt, of the guilt, of the resentment, of that limited perception, because that keeps us stuck. We have to let go of something to get to the next stage of our evolution. It's like, what's one thing you need to let go of in order to create that new thing that you want in your life? We have to ask ourselves those questions.
Yes. And sometimes the life, God, the universe, once you make that decision, things just move out on their own. And people leave your life on their own. Why this? She was meant to go with you where you were going.
Right.
He was,
right.
And things start happening for you.
Right, because that mindset is starting to change. Like I said earlier, what we think of expands. Where do you want to be? Again, what do you want for yourself? And once you start asking, because we have to ask, we can't keep them in here. We have to physically ask for those things, you said, because then the universe starts listening to you.
And your spirit, and your mind and your heart, somehow they stop the tug of war for a moment. Because when you voice it out, guess what happens? The sound re-enters you with reason. And then you're like, oh shit, it wasn't as bad as I was thinking when I kept it in my head. And that's what I encourage a lot of people to do, even if you're talking by yourself.
It don't matter.
Say it out loud so that it can re-enter, and then you're going to see how it was this big, this small, but big, and you made it out to be this mountain. And
Right.
It was a pebble.
Yo, everything is, always look at ourselves with curiosity and never judgment. Never judgment. It's like we all have things in our life that we want to get rid of, or that we're afraid of, or that we don't like about ourselves. And those are the moments that we want to run and hide. But that is not the answer, because that's not going to move you. Again, building that self-awareness, that's what's going to take you, out of that game that you no longer want to play. You need to change the game. You need to change the mindset.
I'm big on that.
Yeah.
And
It's huge.
and it's your game, and
Yeah.
you're the owner of the team, you're the captain, you're the head coach, you're the player. You're playing every single role, so why is it so difficult?
Mm-hmm.
You
Is your
make the
movie,
rules.
your movie, is your book, Margarita, you're a writer. How do you feel about, and also Maritza, right, the concept of, or the idea of writing it out, right? Writing your
Oh,
story out,
huge.
your ending, and the characters that you want in it, and and
Huge.
following that, right?
Yep. Yes. I mean, I am huge on journaling.
Mhm.
Journaling is such a it's a healer, you know? It's a healer because when you write, you're letting it out. And that's what we're all talking about, self-expression, self-awareness, self-care. For me, journaling is all of that. Because you can go back and then you can see your growth. It's like, oh my God, this is how I used to feel about this, but I don't feel like that today, you know? And what does that do for you? It allows you to feel such a sense of freedom,
Hmm.
you know? It's like, what does that look like in my life right now? That's what it used to look like, but what does it look like today? You know? And it allows you to look at how you're relating to that thing that was such a huge stressor for you. Whether it was your relationship with money, that is like one of the biggest stressors, because money sometimes gives us a feeling of disempowerment. Money's huge in our lives. We have to use it. It's there. We use it, we claim it. So, money is also a self-expression of who we are, how we use it, and looking at those things, you know, opening up those areas in our life that we're struggling with, we should write about it. That's what makes the best books. you know, it's just like that's where you start. That's your template right there. You build your framework and then you take it from there. Because I'm such a huge believer that no one should be struggling. We were not created to struggle. We struggle because we fear. So we have to stop, we have to look, we have to listen to ourselves, and ask yourself, why am I not looking at my life the way I'm looking at my life? Why am I coming up short? Why am I coming up short? Why am I aggravated? Why am I angry? Why am I bitter? Why am I still in this relationship that I know is not giving me self-expression? You know? Self-care to me is about taking care of your mind, your body, your spirit, and making it a symbol of who you are. And that's why I love tattoos. I mean, I will never get one because I'm too afraid of getting one, but I love to see people's expression. That is an expression of who they are. Something that means something to them. That to me, that's amazing. You know, it comes down to this. It's about getting unstuck without coming unglued, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm gonna end with this. Go ahead.
Without losing your ground.
Yes, right. Yeah,
So
without falling apart.
yes.
You know, we have to pick up the pieces. We have to pick up the pieces and use that beautiful golden glue that you were talking about. And glue ourselves back together.
More
You know,
beautiful, more
yes,
stronger,
yes,
and powerful,
yes,
and giving.
yes,
And
yes.
kintsugi your ass into a masterpiece at the end of the
There's
day. If you
there's
don't do it, no one's gonna do it
no,
for you.
don't
No,
don't
No
wait.
one.
Don't,
no.
I think that's a mistake we make. as women, it was my case. I was always waiting to, asking, well, what do you want? It was never about what do I want. I
And
was always coming
expecting.
unglued, always coming unglued. And this is where those ugly emotions, I mean, not that emotions are ugly because they're there for a reason, but those things that are not serving us come up, you know, and we start becoming unglued and we stay stuck.
Yeah, my worst mistake, I can admit, is expecting a relationship or a man to gather all the pieces, pick up all the
Mm-hmm.
pieces and help me glue them together and tell and feel like,
Right.
well, he's my missing piece. And
Mm-hmm.
no, no,
No, we,
I learned to, yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm. We need to know who we are before we can try and understand somebody else. Because then we get in the mix of their not knowing who they are, and then that becomes a struggle because when two people don't know who they are, you're never gonna that relationship is never
They're
gonna.
lost. They're lost.
Yes,
It's
it's
like
not
putting
gonna.
your shoes on backwards.
Yes, exactly, because you're both going different
Yeah,
directions,
yeah.
and that was what my marriage was about, you know so no, self-awareness is a guidepost to who we are, and the one that you can trust and know how to put those beautiful pieces together the way you want them is you.
Yes, no one else.
Nope.
No
So
one else.
never ever forget that you are beautiful, you are powerful, you are a woman. Don't change anything about who you are. Claim yourself to be the goddess of your existence and know what you want
Hello.
and claim it.
I claim it. I am
Claim it.
magically orgasmic everywhere I stand. I am
Good.
unapologetically courageous because
Awesome.
I am.
Awesome. Good
El
for
que le
you.
guste bien y si no también.
That's
That's right.
we're not everybody's cup of wine because I love wine. I don't say tea, so
No, see, but I say I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I drink coffee, so fuck them.
that's great. Oh my God, I had such a good time. I hope that you guys take something
Oh
away
my
from
God, I
this.
was writing stuff. I
Everything.
think we all were writing stuff down because you know what? We don't know it all. It don't matter what we can we're three life coaches right here, and Francia is soon to become one. And the thing is that you know what? We don't. It's so beautiful when life coaches come together and they
Oh my
share,
God,
and
yes.
then we can say, "Oh, okay, I was doing that," and then you say one word that changes the whole trajectory of your thought pattern, and that's how we grow as a
Yes.
tribe. And
It's
I,
that's
so
how we grow
beautiful.
as
I
Yes.
the queens that
love
we are. Yeah.
I
Yes.
love I love this. I love my tribe. I love, again, being around other people that I'm a student. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always a student,
Yes.
no matter where I am or what I'm learning at the time. I always open it up for even questions from my
Mm-hmm.
own clients or people seeking answers from me.
Right, right, right.
And when they call me with a question, and I'm like, oh, I don't know the answer to that. Let's learn that together.
Yeah,
Let's
we
go.
always have to be a student of our
Yes,
work.
yes,
Always. We
yes. So
can't we
I
can't be that
love
ignorant and say I know it all. We don't.
it.
Shit, I'm a
I
student
love
to
it.
myself. I'll be like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, hold up, let me sit down, let me take some notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm my own instructor and student.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
You know
have
what?
to be.
Because
You
I
have to
have
be
to
your own
trust.
client and coach.
Yes, I have to trust my process, and my process
Yes.
is not going to be Lillian's process or Francia's.
No.
My
I
process is my
love it.
process.
I love the difference in everyone.
Yes.
And
It's
you
like
know,
you give somebody draw me a cat. We're all gonna come from different directions, use different colors. Some are gonna be big cats, so and it's all beautiful. There's no right and wrong.
like I have the same thing you have hanging behind you.
Oh my
It's
chakra lady.
beautiful. And then the other I'm sitting with my and this she was born.
Oh wow. I love that.
Yeah. You can't see like the wrong
Yeah.
way. The glitter
Love it.
and the
Mhm.
moon. You see the moon?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
she's
Oh, I
reaching up
love
to it.
that. It's so
Yeah.
funny because painting is coming into my universe. Like something's really pushing me
Good. Go
to
for it.
start painting because it's another expression of who I'm becoming. It's just
It's
coming out so
beautiful.
light and clear. I'm really getting
It's beautiful. That's why I am a spiritual and creative healing life coach, because
mm,
that was my transferring of my grief and sorrow when my husband was dying, and I never knew it. I started painting at 45,
right, right.
and
That's what I'm saying. You got to be open to life because you never know how your self-expression is going to come out. And when somebody's holding you back, you can't let that out,
you
you
cut
know?
yourself at you cut yourself off at the knees when you do that.
And
And
it's so sad to watch. Yeah.
but the one thing you said is key too, ladies, is it doesn't matter how old we are, what we've been through. Our gifts are delivered on time, and it's not
Yes.
our time.
Divine
throughout
With you
timing.
with your art, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
Lillian has been evolving. Francia has been evolving. And I love to sit back, and when I look at their status, and I sit back and I say, I know them.
It's like
I
your
know
proud
them.
mama.
I am. It's like I know them at an intimate level, and look at them.
Yes.
And I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
Yeah, you
because
celebrate them. You celebrate them, of course. That's awesome. Hey, I want to become part of this little tribe here. I love the
I
energy.
believe you already are.
Yes, you are.
I love it.
Because you know what? You know what's a true friendship, a true tribe, when we can tell each other off, when we correct each other, when we hold each other accountable.
Yes.
Lillian is one who has been working with Francia and I on our changing our mindsets, and it has been working. And she's like, Lillian is a pushy little heifer, and so we're like, okay, and then we hang up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's right.
Yeah.
And things have been changing, and I have been utilizing the tools that she handed out in that phone
Right.
call,
Right.
and things have been changing.
Mhm.
But there's always hiccups in the road,
Of course.
and stuff that's totally out of my control. But
Right.
you know what? You grow and you
Yeah.
accomplish.
Every time you feel that discomfort, that's a growth spurt.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's
You
right.
know?
Growing pains.
Yes, growing. Those will never go away. They'll never stop.
Until our last breath.
That's
Absolutely.
it. That's
And even then, right before it, we're still fighting.
That's you know what though, but that's what true friendship is.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah.
to find.
Hard to
But when
find.
you find it, cherish it,
That's it.
acknowledge it.
That's
Thank
it.
you, Margarita, for that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Lillian.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
acknowledge
Yeah.
it, thank each other, call each other out, call each other for anything,
Mhm.
make each other
Right.
laugh.
That's what true friendship
love it.
is.
I'm blessed and grateful.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Amen, amen, amen.
That's it. Yay. What are we celebrating today before we click off?
So, Lillian, you wanted me to mention the strength of unity in numbers, right? So, again, alone we can do it, of course, but together we are that much stronger, that much powerful. So, again, on that note, I thank my tribe. I thank you for coming, to share everything with us and become one of us. And everything you've said and everything you do is it describes us. Yes.
Yeah.
Margarita.
I'm not going to give my other one, but I'm grateful for every breath of life in this moment. That's what I'm grateful for. And I'm going to end with always be loyal to yourself. Siempre seas leal a sí misma. You know why? Because if you're loyal to yourself, you cultivate self-compassion, you cultivate self-trust, and then cultivate self-love. And it's a process, and it is a step-by-step process. So always be loyal to yourself, siempre seas leal a sí misma, y así conquistamos cualquier montaña que se nos confronta.
Amen to that. Yep.
And mine is, ladies, Do not forget to adjust each other's crowns. Reinas, no olviden ajustarse las coronas una al otro. We are here for everybody and for ourselves first.
Amen.
Maritza,
Yay.
thank you very much for joining us
Oh,
this
thank
evening. It was a
you.
pleasure. We
Namaste.
all learned from you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes.
And good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
They both hung up.
We're still live. You